What's up? Welcome back. Kanode Knows. We're still going. This week on the show we got Ralph Sinisi, part 2. And maybe part 3 in the future, who knows. But Ralph reached out with a really interesting story and asked like how we could get the message out to people, and we brainstormed it, and I was like, well, let's just put out another episode. So Ralph and I talked for I think an hour and a half or something, and it's a fun conversation. It's not necessarily all BMX, and it's more personal to Ralph. But I mean, we all know him and love him and respect him, and I think it's an important piece of information to get out there. So we talk about that, and then we talk about Rosie's passing, and then we get into Animal and Grove Street. So it was. I enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. I hope you have a fantastic week. October's almost halfway over. That's crazy. The weather's finally changing here in Arizona. About to have the first decent weathered Sunday this week. Get out on the bikes. I got a clip yesterday. It's been a couple months since I did that. And life is good. I mean, I don't want to ramble, but it is my show, so I don't care. I'm switching from my salary job with Jamil to going full-time freelance and trying to build up a business of sorts. And it'll be like content, marketing, directing, writing, editing, all this stuff. So I guess what I'm asking is you guys keep me in mind if you come across anybody who like needs help with their marketing or their social media content or get a wedding filmed. I'm pretty damn good at weddings. That's enough about me though, huh? Here's Ralph. Let's get into it. Kanode Knows. Ralph Sinisi. Hi.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, I figured I'd talk to you about something because I was pretty vague last time when I talked to you just about some stuff going on, and I realized, I think the last few weeks too, that I just want to, do everything possible to try to get some knowledge out there that I've learned through some difficult situations, to try to help others. And I, lost a very dear friend 3 weeks back, Eric Rosie Schalles, and he was a top rider. He worked at Animal for a long time, and he was, maybe the nicest person I ever met, and one of the most caring and the least selfish person who put everybody before himself and just wanted the best for others. And we lost him a few weeks back. He took his own life, and it's been a really difficult few weeks. So I just have been thinking outside the box and just trying to, do other things to really reach out and just get some knowledge out there, because I've learned certain things that I didn't plan on learning. And I've spoken to some people lately, and I believe I was able to help them in their lives with some understanding from some things that happened to me. So I wanted to at least get my story out there.
Yeah, what's been going on? What's the catalyst for all of this?
Well, I suffered a really bad injury that gave me an illness, and I didn't know what was happening at the time. This goes back some time now. I had actually stopped taking. I was living on the 11th floor in an apartment building, and I had stopped taking the elevators when COVID hit, because it was a very, here in Jersey City, it was like ground zero, like New York City, and It was we had my wife and I, our daughter was 1 year old at the time, and it was a really crowded building with over 500 people, and I wanted to do all I could to keep my wife and my daughter from getting the virus when it first hit, because at first you didn't know.
Yeah, it was so scary at first. It was
Yeah,
insane.
you
Yeah.
didn't know if it could even kill children. They didn't know what was happening, so I wanted to be as safe as possible. And
So you're just taking 11 flights of stairs every day, multiple times a
yeah,
day.
which it seemed, at the time I decided, hey, I'm not gonna, risk. I'm gonna, stay away from people, and that was difficult in that crowded building for sure. So there was all kinds of shortages with food and supplies also. So I started stocking us up, with everything, because the places were running out of anything, and there was lines around the block. So,
Yeah.
I was carrying up bags and bags of groceries that I could find. And I found one place that got in bottled water. You couldn't even get bottled water, and I ran 30 cases up and down the stairs, and all,
Sheesh.
all kinds of supplies and stuff. And I knew I was running myself, really, really down, and I was really overexerting myself. But I just felt like I had to keep going to get us prepared for whatever was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting worse and worse. So we decided to relocate to a family house. And then we moved out of the apartment, and I did that only using the stairs. And by the second day of that, this was almost 2 weeks straight of just running up and down the stairs to get me and my family in and out and get all these supplies. I felt something, like I thought I pulled the muscle or something, but it was a really weird feeling like I never had before. And I stopped. I stopped moving the rest of the stuff out. I got in my truck. I drove back down to my family, and then it was just the worst pain I ever had in my life, even worse than any of the injuries I had on my bike or anything.
Where on your body are you talking about?
So what happened, which I didn't know at the time, was my intestine actually, the muscles that hold the intestine in, from straining myself running up and down with all this heavy stuff, almost like a hernia, the intestine slipped out of place, and the muscles that hold it in actually tore, and it made a tear in my intestine.
Damn.
So at the time, I just thought I had a really bad muscle pull. I thought I had some digestive issues with all the stress of everything. And it was the start of the pandemic. So I didn't go to the doctor or the hospital, because the last thing I thought was that I was dying or anything. And I wasn't going to go in with the start of the pandemic to the hospital or doctor unless it was like a fatal thing, which I didn't think it was anything as bad as it was at the time. So after a few days, I got back on my feet. I was feeling a little better. But I lost a bunch of blood, and I thought it was just, you know, I thought I had hemorrhoids or something. I didn't even know, because I had digestive issues before, and the doctors just said, what are you gonna do? You got to eat the high five or whatever, and if you see any blood, there's nothing you could really do. It's fine. So I was like, shit, maybe I popped a hemorrhoid or something, or whatever.
Yeah.
On top of that, but I didn't know that my whole intestine had actually slipped
It's
and
crazy.
ripped,
Yeah.
and I didn't find this out till after, with some time. So I thought, it wasn't anything. This was something normal that would be all right over time. And it turned out that the blood I lost didn't get replenished, and I had gotten really bad iron deficiency anemia, which is, the iron is the main thing that makes your brain work correctly. So it produces, iron is what your brain needs to produce serotonin to remain, calm and happy and, normal, and that's how I always was. I was always very, calm and strong and you know, never really let anything bother me. I was very uh very calm in the worst of situations, and
Yeah,
I've been
chill.
been through crazy trauma and stress in my life, and I've always, been the calmest person I could be to handle these situations the best possible way. But what had happened, which I didn't know, was that since I had this really bad iron deficiency anemia, my brain wasn't getting proper serotonin. So I was, not having proper serotonin gives you really bad anxiety. So I had really bad anxiety, but I never had anxiety in my life. So I didn't know what it was. So I started experiencing it, and I just thought, when I thought of what anxiety was all my life, I always thought it was just, oh, some people worry about stuff and some people don't. And I'm a tough, strong person. I don't worry about stuff. I don't have anxiety. So when this was happening to me, I thought I was I didn't know what anxiety was, but I just, I felt stressed out, but I had a lot of things going at the time, the pandemic, the businesses were going through all kinds of stuff with the pandemic. I started being up, not sleeping. I was getting, some sleep deprivation. So, that it really changed me. The whole thing changed me, but I didn't understand that it was an actual physical illness that was affecting me, that was changing me.
Yeah.
Because there was so many things going on at the time, and we had, a 1-year-old daughter, so that's tough to sleep with that as it was. So between that, the pandemic, the businesses, everything, I thought it was normal that I was stressed out and not sleeping. Um, so I became, I was letting things bother me that never would before, and even the littlest things, loud noises or cars or uh,
Yeah. Just
like
fuck
even
this.
even
Yeah.
basic things. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I was having physical symptoms also, but I thought the physical symptoms were normal because I didn't feel so good and I wasn't sleeping. But I was having migraines, and then I was, just I felt my heart beating really heavy all the time, but I just thought it was all tied together.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm stressed out, I'm not sleeping, this is normal.
Yeah.
So I was overreacting to things, and meanwhile, you don't realize, the last thing you think is that your brain isn't working correctly because you have an illness if you don't know you have the illness.
Yeah. You think you're right in the moment, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was acting like a different person. My wife was telling me, "Oh, you have anxiety," and I didn't even understand what it was. But in your mind, you think you're acting normally because that's what your brain is saying. And with the anxiety, your threshold to deal with any kind of stresses, even any type of basic life stresses that all humans have, either way, become that much more stressful, and you over exaggerate the issues with the anxiety. So
Yep.
I went from becoming a very strong person to a very uh, person that I thought was doing the right thing, and I thought I was being safe and I was making the best decisions to be safe for my family, for the businesses, things like that. But I was thinking with the anxiety, which made me be thinking a lot more stressed out than I would ever be if my brain was functioning correctly, which it wasn't because I was so low on iron, and iron is the basic thing that makes your brain work correctly and keeps you calm and happy. So
Yeah.
uh, so my wife ends up, uh, she's getting upset with me about stuff, and I didn't understand that there was anything wrong with me. So I was just like, hey, something's, she had a back injury. She was acting upset. I thought she was depressed and having the issues, but I didn't know that I was not being the normal calm husband that was always like, don't worry about it, everything's fine. Instead, all of a sudden I was being like, yeah, we got to worry about it, this isn't fine, we got to do something about it, and that just stressed her out. And she had enough of it and she ended up leaving. And I didn't even understand at the time because I didn't even realize what was happening.
Yeah.
So then after she leaves, I go to the doctor to prove to her that I'm fine. I said, look, I'm fine. You're saying there's something wrong with me. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go and get a full physical and everything and show you that I'm physically and mentally healthy. And then I went and I got a full blood panel and everything with the physical, and that's when I realized that I had the really bad iron deficiency anemia.
Yeah.
The doctor called me up and said, come right in. They wouldn't talk to me over the phone. They thought I had colon cancer, and
Damn.
yeah. So I was like, I didn't know exactly at first, but then they had me go to a gastrologist who then diagnosed me with the intestine injury, and then the whole thing, it just fell into place for me because I looked up what it was. So I had my hemoglobin was 16.2 my whole life, and then when I went to the doctor and got diagnosed with this, it was only 10.1. So I was getting less than two-thirds of the normal oxygen and iron that a brain needs to function correctly. So you're totally not a calm, stable person, and you act very differently.
Yeah.
So I did, once I was diagnosed with this, I thought my wife would believe what happened. I mean, I thought she would understand and be like, wow, he really wasn't himself. There was something wrong with him. Now it makes sense. I thought it was going to make sense to her the way it made sense to me. And meanwhile, I was in shock because all this time I had no idea that I was acting wrong. Then, when I got diagnosed and I started looking up the symptoms of iron deficiency anemia, their moodiness, irritability, and then, I started looking all this up and, anxiety, depression, all these things. And I was like, wow, this is actually what happened. Like I was acting like a different person, but it was because my brain was working differently because it wasn't
Yeah.
getting fed what it needs to work properly. Uh, so
What's
my
the
wife,
timeline on this? Like when after your wife left, and then how soon the doctor, and then how, like, where are we in the story after all that?
yeah, it was like about a month later is when I went to the doctor and was diagnosed. And I thought, everything was going to get
Yeah.
back and fall back into place and because plus it was a curable illness. So I was able to cure it. I really just had to start taking a lot of iron.
Yeah.
And my iron deficiency anemia cured itself. It took about 4 months, and it rose back up. Rose back up a couple points each month, and within 4 months, I was back to
Yeah.
16.2 hemoglobin, and the symptoms that I was having from the iron deficiency anemia went away.
Nice.
So the
What was the most
physical
noticeable difference between, like, after you, when you were starting to treat it, and then towards the end, what did you notice the most?
you know, once I realized what was happening to myself, my legs had been shaking. I couldn't sleep. I was having the migraines. My heart was beating. I was always cold. I had brittle fingernails, like all these things that
Yeah,
it
damn.
says, all these things that you said that, after I knew I had it and I read it, I was like, wow, I do have all these things, and they did go away. So all the physical things went away, and then the mental things, even though I was going through this crazy trauma with my family and I didn't know what was happening, I was still not that stressed out person I was.
Right.
Once, it took a little while, but things went back to normal as my blood levels re restabilized to normal, which they were my whole life, except through this period when I had the iron deficiency anemia. I never had it in my life before this, and I haven't had it since. But it was, it was nothing like this has ever happened to me. I've never had any physical or mental things that happen like this, and it was a combination. It was caused by a physical situation, but So, uh, fuck, where am I even going now?
Well, no,
I'm sorry.
I want to know, like, so you learn this and then you see it yourself. I've never heard of that. Like, you get low iron and then all of a sudden, like, you're cranky and anxious and depressed and brittle fingernails and all that. And I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't have enough iron but don't really think about it because, it's like, fuck it, I'm fine. But it's crazy what your brain will trick you into thinking. Like, there's a lot of times in my life where I've, like, had to just be like, okay, ignore my brain right now. It'll be good in a while, in a little bit, but right now you got to ignore it. But that's a tough one. So,
No, if really anything physically really does affect you mentally, and this was, one of the biggest things that can affect you mentally is your, iron, and
yeah.
that's actually a big reason why I wanted to do a podcast with this, because after this has happened, I realized that this is not something that's known by the general public, and it's not even known by a lot of physicians.
Huh.
The physical symptoms of iron deficiency anemia are pretty well known, but they aren't, there's many people, and this is mainly something with women. What happened with me was really rare, to have a blood loss injury like I had.
Yeah.
For a healthy male to have something like this is rare, without like cancer or being elderly or something with different physical ailments. But this is very common. It is the most common uh, medical illness, medical condition, and nutritional issue in the world. And I've spoke to uh, many people about it, and I talked to a couple of friends, and they were just in shock when I told them, and they were started telling me, that they were ready to, they don't know how they could take being with their spouse anymore. They had turned into such a different person. They had loved that person so much, but they didn't think they were even married to the same person because the person was so different. And they had been diagnosed with bad iron deficiency anemia. And they were in shock because they were like, this all makes sense now. My wife is acting differently. And I just thought she was just being a jerk to me. I just
Right.
thought she was, I don't want to be with this person. They're mean to me. They're upset about everything. We don't relax and spend time together because they're always worrying about things. They're making problems out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I was doing. And that is what is happening to a lot of families, and they don't know it. They just, because the doctors aren't saying anything, the doctors don't even really know. And they were in shock, and they didn't know, and they were, they totally, it changed their view completely on their family situation, to know that their spouse's mental issues that they were having were real, and they were in all probability caused by this. Well, either way, as soon as your hemoglobin drops, your brain is affected.
Yeah.
If you don't have your normal hemoglobin level, that's what you need to make the serotonin and be the happy normal person that you are. You are not the same person, no matter how much it drops. But the more it drops, the more of a drastic change you're going to have,
That's wild.
because it just affects your brain that much more. So that's really the biggest thing I wanted to touch on, is that this is a big thing. It's, and there are a lot of studies on this, but they're really only within the last 10 years. So for all these years that this has been such a problem, really over the last 10 years, they've realized, that not getting proper iron is,
Mental.
causing these
Yeah.
mental issues. And they've done studies that over 35% of people in psychiatric institutions have iron deficiency anemia.
Huh.
So that's just huge.
Make you
And
crazy. Yeah.
it's huge. And the bigger implication is that all these people are not being treated for the problem. They're being
Hmm.
treated with psychiatric drugs, and nobody even is aware that their physical illness is what's causing the mental
Right.
effect.
Yeah. They're like, it can't be your diet. You're fine. Let's just get you on these psychiatric meds. It's kind of crazy how, like, everything is connected in your body. It's wild how something happens to your intestines, you lose some blood, and then next thing you know, you're feeling extra anxious about something. We're just, it's all holistic, man.
You
It's
know,
all one piece.
the whole
Yeah.
body is connected, and anything that's affecting you physically is definitely affecting you mentally. But this
Yeah.
is, this is iron. Like I said, is the biggest, predictor of mood and behavior with the brain. So I really, I want to try to get that out there. That hoping
Yeah.
that it can help others, because it is a it's really it's a huge health crisis that's totally almost being ignored, that people don't understand or know about, and it can really, I believe, if this information got out to the public, it could help countless amounts of people to get healthy and regain their physical and mental health,
Yeah.
and keep relationships together, families, and other things. So I wanted to get the word out, because I I I I believe I know it's a huge problem for a lot of people, and they have no idea what's happening. They have no idea what's even going on. So
What have you been doing differently now? Are you still taking the iron, or are you changing your diet at all? When you say iron, I think about just eating steak.
yeah,
everybody just needs to eat more steak. But what do you get iron from, honestly?
yeah, there's all kinds of things that do have iron. There are a lot of different vegetables and meats,
Yeah.
uh, that have it, but the supplements are very good. They really do add a lot, because that's really the easiest way to get it. Um,
So next time
and
my girlfriend's on her period, I'm just gonna force feed her a bunch of steak and red kidney beans and edamame and chickpeas,
yeah,
all high in iron, and spinach, kale, collard greens.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, and that's the thing. It is, it's normal to go through periods, but when not, I mean, no pun intended. It's normal to go through periods of time, like that. But if it's a long-term situation where the body is depleted over time and it's not replenished, that's the main thing, is that the iron needs to be replenished when it's lost.
Yeah.
So it is very important, and people can really regain their health, and it will completely improve their mood also.
That's a
So it
good thing to try and get out there, man. So maybe
thank
people who are
thank you.
listening can spread the word and
Yeah, so
share
I did.
this or just tell people about it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I really wanted to bring that up, because it's just something that I've learned the hard way, and didn't plan on knowing this. But now that I have the knowledge of really how the body works, which I never did until I lived through this, and also realizing that the general public doesn't know, and
Yeah.
like I said, even doctors, when they're diagnosing people with iron deficiency anemia, they should be saying, you will experience these symptoms mentally also, but they're not telling anybody. So nobody knows. They just think, oh, you're tired, you're cranky, this, that, but it's not that, hey, your brain isn't working correctly, so you're not thinking, normally with the normal
Yeah.
amount of serotonin, and being the calm, happy person that you always are. So
It's a shame. It's a shame to have to learn that the hard way. I'm sorry that you went through what you went through, you know?
thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's the worst thing that's ever happened in my life, and it's very still very shocking. I wake up in shock every day, because I was acting like a different person with mental illness, and hurt the people that I love the most, not even knowing it. is so it's a very weird reality. It's a very bad reality. But there is a lot of, that's the other part of this. There is a lot of stigma now. I've learned also that, once someone does act differently, there isn't understanding that it's an actual illness that caused their brain, that caused the person to act differently. So that's what else I've learned the hard way is that, people don't deserve to get an illness, and people don't try to get an illness.
Just happens.
It does. It happens for a variety of reasons. Uh, and what happened to me was a very significant change with how significant the illness was. Um, but there is a great stigma that people who have some type of illness like this are either a bad person or they're, not able. My situation was curable because it was a curable physical illness, but even people with long-term mental illnesses, uh, 85% of them are completely treatable.
Yeah.
Usually with medication, but also with how I'm thinking, I think it can be a lot more are treated with
Diet.
physical,
Yeah.
getting their physical issues corrected to correct their mental state also.
Yeah.
So this is definitely another big thing, the stigma of mental health, which I believe is bad in a lot of different ways, but it is a lot of misunderstanding, and it's misconceptions about who people are because they suffer an illness, and
Yep.
it's not anything. You're not at the time. People don't realize that people with, and that's something I never knew until going through this, is that I have so much empathy for others now because
You've been there.
you don't
Yeah.
when you're acting differently, if your brain isn't working correctly, you're led by what your brain thinks. So if your brain is thinking one way because it's not working correctly, you don't know you're acting with a mental illness. So it's very uh
It's subtle too. Like I'm like relating to this hard because there's moments in time where I'm like, either I'm crazy or this, either this or I'm crazy and I'm being delusional. But like if you're not in the right state, then like you're gonna believe things that legit aren't true, or you're gonna start ascribing intentions to things that don't need to be ascribed, or just overthinking anything in general. Like normal me wouldn't be thinking about this heavily, but I'm locked in on this one thing, and it's just like, what I don't know. It's a tough one to get through.
yeah, I mean, life is really stressful. So to handle regular stresses, you need to have a healthy brain that's working correctly.
Yeah,
So
and gut.
normal life stresses become a lot worse if your brain is not working correctly. You lose the threshold to deal with stress. So you're bothered by things that normally wouldn't bother you, like I was saying,
Yep.
and you don't you don't look at the positives. You focus on the negatives with the anxiety, and you constantly think of the worst case scenario.
Yep.
So you're like, what can happen, and I was always concerned with my family's safety. But it became, I was it was irrationally uh you know, concerned about them crossing the street, or, basic things. Like I said, I've spent my whole life in the streets riding my bike, and never, I'm the last person who things like that even bother me, with cars or horns, like I said, or anything. And I never let people bother me either. I always was like, whatever it is, you know, it is what it is. And I've never even argued with anybody in my life. I'm just a very easygoing person who talks things out, and doesn't, rush one way or the other. But what happened is anxiety makes you have a fight or flight response. So you either don't. So if something, if something was happening, instead of, I would either say, nah, don't worry about it, and not deal with it, instead of just saying, hey, let's talk about this. I would either not deal with it, or on the other hand, I would get upset about it and say, let's deal with this. This is a bad thing. We got to deal with it right away.
Yeah.
When the normal reaction without the anxiety before the iron deficiency anemia was to not have a fight or flight reaction, but to have a normal rational reaction where you deal with everything, calmly, and not push it to the side or make it a big deal, but deal with it,
Yeah. What?
rationally, like you always do. But when your brain isn't working right with the iron deficiency anemia, it's a fight or flight, and I never knew what that was.
Yeah.
I had heard about these things, but then I'm like, holy shit, I was doing these things. I was acting totally differently, but at the time, you don't know.
Yeah, when you're in it, it feels like you're being rational by having this like super intense, all encompassing, like it's a physical feeling too when you're in that fight or flight. Something
Yeah,
happens and then it's just like, there's no even consideration that like, whoa, my body's reacting to this, even though like your rationality is just gone. I've been there. I don't know if
yeah.
I'm iron deficient, but I've had those moments for sure.
No, so it is normal, to have the body to have it in some fashion, but not to act like that over smaller things that aren't really big deals,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
also to be able to calm down if you do get upset.
Yeah.
So if you have bad anxiety, you're going to keep thinking about that thing, and you're going to keep being upset,
Yep.
which, which was something that, oh shit,
And down the rabbit hole you go.
my bad.
You're good. What happened?
It's the air pump, the the
I think
compressor.
Zoom does a pretty good job of cutting it out. Let's pause though. A little pause. This episode is brought to you by Dance Comp. Dance Comp is the world's largest BMX mail order, and you should order your stuff there. I was checking it out, looking at this Colt chain. It's a pretty nice chain for half the price of some other chains. No shade. I wonder what the difference is. $60, $30. I digress. Dance Comp is where you should buy your next parts that you need, and you should use promo code Kanode to get 15% off. Thank you, Dance Comp. Look at this shirt, dude. Get the hell out of here. All right, back to the show. I love Burn Slow, and you will too once you go to burnslow.co and buy some stuff. They've been supporting the show for a while now, and I'm super grateful, and I legit wear Burn Slow shirts 5 days a week. Burn Slow is a rider-owned media and clothing company. They support some of the dopest riders in the game, specifically Casey Starling. He's amazing. Fuck, dude, what do you say about Burn Slow that I haven't said? You know what I'm saying? Get this shirt. It's fucking sick. Get the fruit shirt. I love the fruit shirt. I just learned from Brett Silva that they partnered up with a local nonprofit to give food away and made that fruit shirt. I didn't know why the fruit shirt was made, but it's so dope. So I wore that for weeks without knowing what it was, the story behind it, and there's an amazing story behind it. So I don't know. Burn Slow is dope, and you should go to burnslow.co and support them since they support this show. Okay, goodbye. What do you have to say, Trip? You like Burn Slow? Yeah, Dad, I fucking love it. That's cool. All right, have a good day, guys. Have a good day. What the fuck? This episode is brought to you by Unity Ride Shop. Unity Ride Shop is Phoenix's best BMX store. It's off 43rd Avenue in Bethany Home. It's rider-owned. They put on local events. They sponsor a bunch of riders locally. And they're doing the type of stuff that a BMX scene needs. Yeah, they're filling a lot of holes that we didn't know we had in Phoenix. So it's pretty dope. They just had a jam in Chandler not too long ago. Helped me out with putting my bike together. And it's a fun time hanging out in that shop. I filmed some there, so I'll put some B-roll shots over this. But yeah, I like Unity Ride Shop, and you should too. So next time you're in need of some BMX stuff and you're in Phoenix, go to Unity Ride Shop, 43rd Avenue in Bethany Home. Back to the show. And we're back. And my lighting is different, but if you're just listening, you can't tell. So is there anything more on that topic before we move on?
I guess the only other thing that I wanted to address that I've learned is that people who do have any type of mental illnesses or act mentally ill, the justice system is not kind to them.
Nah.
And this was something that I always assumed, but I've actually, I've learned it, firsthand how things work, and that there really aren't uh, people there to help people and their families. There are a lot of people to hurt you or take your money, and there are, uh, there aren't programs. So people are getting put into the system, and there's a lot of people that need help, and meanwhile they are not being helped. And I just
Yep.
can't imagine what it's like to be thrown into jail having severe mental illnesses. Like I had something like that with anxiety, and there are these people that are getting jailed for things they don't even realize they're doing, that they're not actual criminals. So there are criminals that probably should not be on the street, and then there are
People that need
people
help.
that there are people that need help,
Yeah.
and meanwhile their problems, especially something like this with anxiety or depression, their problems are exacerbated by being put into situations where they're being punished. So they're being punished for having illnesses, and it should not be, because that's not helping society. It's not helping these people.
Yeah.
To put them into the system and just keep jailing them. There should be better programs. I don't know the exact answers to this, but I know it's definitely a big problem, because there is not many things out there, that people have any type of issue in their life where their brain isn't working correctly, and they're known as a criminal, or thought of as, and once you think differently like this too, I've learned that there's a lot of blame. So you get blamed for things that you didn't know or understand. uh, but also, once someone acts differently, it's all of a sudden assumed that, oh, other things are because of this or this. People say this happened because of this or that. I've heard all kinds of things, with people that didn't believe or understand what happened to me, whether it was, that I'm a bad person, or that I'm, permanently ill, or that this was my true personality my whole life and it came out, or, you know,
Yeah.
I've I've been told, that this happened because I've hit my head riding my bike, which I'm not saying that is not a real thing, but I've been very lucky to not have had any head injuries, uh, bad head injuries my whole riding career. There was one thing I know that happened to me, but I have been, blamed. My actions were blamed on pretty much everything except what actually happened for most people, because what happened was so difficult to understand. And that's why I have, especially now, I deal with so many people face to face, with customers at the store all day, and more people than ever. And I always had empathy for people, but now my level of empathy is at this super high level, because you never know what anyone has gone through, or what they're dealing with, or
Yeah.
if they do have some type of illness, that's not their fault. That doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't. I just really take my time with everybody, and you have to act differently to different types of people, to
Yep.
make them comfortable. And it is what it is. You can't dismiss people because of something that you don't understand, because that is really having misconceptions about the person. And then that's that stigma itself of not treating everybody equally because of things that that are
Yeah,
not.
factors outside of like their control, and they don't know. Like you're in your case, you didn't know that you had the iron thing going on. In other cases, it's a different thing that's like not in their control. And if you're interacting with that person and you take shit personally, and you're like, "What is wrong with this person?" It's just there's something wrong, but they don't know what it is, and you don't know what it is. It's a tough one, and you do have to treat. I'm glad you that. I mean, it's a shitty way to get it, but you got it. The empathy for that's huge. It's a whole nother level. That's a blessing in itself right there. Just looking at
Yeah,
everybody a little with a little bit more
I
empathy.
have learned, I've learned so much in my life, but the worst situations, have given me the most knowledge in the end, because they were the toughest lessons, but they're definitely, they've shaped who I've become, and I feel like overall I'm the best person I can be, that I've ever been in my life, because I've just had so many experiences, and the more you live through, that you get through, and you do what you have to do to get through the things. uh it just puts you at some type of higher level on something. But
For sure.
there is a lot of trauma with going through all this stuff, and it's a very weird, the shock of the reality of living through something like this, with suffering an unknown illness, and then having effects that have drastically, hurt your life in a lot of ways. The negatives and the trauma is a lot. And
Yeah.
it's also, I'm trying to take it to just help keep pushing the motivation to keep doing everything that got to happen. And I do want to help people if I can, more than ever too. And
Yeah. What's making you happy lately? What are you working on? What's going on?
yeah, just I've been working a lot, so I'm just got big plans for both the businesses. So I'm pushing them all I can. And I I always work super hard,
Yeah.
with running Animal and with running the back end stuff of the bike shop. But I think I had told you that, my business partner at the bike shop had left. So now I'm here almost every day, dealing with every aspect of both businesses. So
Yeah.
it is, I'm doing that much more than ever. And they've gone through a lot, especially since the supply chain collapsed, and, they couldn't get inventory for so long. And then the whole bike industry, all the things that have happened to it.
Yeah.
So,
Not easy. So like with
yeah,
the bike shop, for example, I'm curious, like you're picking up slack from where your partner left. Is there like, are you in a position where you can't hire somebody to come help or like,
yeah, no, I got some great people. I got super top mechanics. I got super top, sales guys. I got great people here with me. It's just, there's just so many moving parts to it.
I
And
bet. Yeah.
and it is something where now it's like I've taken the full reins of it, because I always had, my partner running it, but he had bike shop experience. I never worked in a bike shop in my life. And I know about BMX bikes, but I never even rode another bike really in my life. So
Yeah.
besides BMX, so I I'm learning a lot now, because, and I tell customers when they come in, yeah, I'm the owner. I own the place for 16 years, but I never worked here, so I'm trying to learn what's going on. I just be straight up with people, because
Yeah.
I can't BS anybody, because if the last thing is I'm trying to tell people the wrong information or something. So I'm
Yeah.
always,
Exactly. That's the way
I'm
to be,
always,
dude. Be honest.
yeah, exactly. It's
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 like the
not.
most liberating thing is to not try and keep up lies. Yeah, that was a
No,
that was a
no.
lesson in my 20s, just trying to keep up fucking juggling lies, and then it's just the most exhausting, debilitating thing you could do to yourself. It's just like I'd rather deal with like you telling me whatever negative thing you think about my truth than fucking create this, false narrative to make you happy type of deal.
Yeah, that's something I always hated, bullshitting. And you know that was something I always was something that was so important to me, was my word. And when I started Animal, even that was the first thing that I wrote down was no bullshit, because it's got to just be, it's got to be the riding, the parts, no like fancy, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
no gimmick, no gimmicks, no gimmicks to sell stuff, no bullshit,
Yeah.
and that's the way I was always like, that's the way I always felt as myself, that, no matter how bad things are, I'll just tell people the truth, because it doesn't help to it the situation is what it is, and you got to just be straight up about it, because that's what it is. And
Yes, sir.
you
Yeah.
people appreciate you being straight up with them more than anything, with whatever it is, whether it's a customer here at the shop, or one of the guys working for the shop, or Animal, or any of the other riders. Hey,
Yep.
this is, it is what it is, and we're doing what we could do, or we're you
Trying.
know
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
be honest. That's amazing. What do you think is what's been, how do I ask this? I want to know if there's anything that people could help you with, whether it's at the bike shop or with Animal, or what's been a challenge that you've had lately, and maybe we can figure out some way to fucking make your life easier.
Oh, I like this question. This is the best question I've heard. All right, here's the list. I got 500 things. Hold on, this is only gonna take a minute. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm outside of what has happened in my, health and personal life. I have been blessed with the best friends. I have such good people, um, who do love me, who I love, my friends and family. Uh, but as far as, you know, I have great people, and people come and we go riding, and that's great, and really what's happened with Rosie has brought all of our good friends who loved him together. So we've all been spending a lot of time together the last few weeks,
Nice.
with his good friends and family, because he just the best people in the world gravitated to him, because he was the best person in the world, and everybody loved him so much. So
I didn't know
everybody,
anything about him. Will you tell me about him?
yeah, he was. So he is the biggest monster on a bike. He will do the he did the biggest handrails. He did the biggest gaps. Team SAF, that was really, uh, it was him, mainly him, Chris Carter, and tall Mark Muswire, and and Darian Robinson. They had an awesome crew. And I would say that, the guys who we really pushed with Animal the most were Rosie and Carter at the time, because they were like they were almost, and I was talking about it with Bob, but they were almost like the way it was like Bob and George the Santos. It was like Carter and Rosie. Carter would handle the tight technical setups, and Rosie would handle the big
Yes.
setups and the technical stuff. They both did the most of, they all did, all these guys. And I got the pleasure of having Mark over here too. And Mark, he lives in North Carolina now, but he was back and he came out riding, and he's a beast. He's a beast on the bike still. And so Rosie has they're the best crew. These guys are great. And so Rosie started working for Animal. Uh, I'd say about 15 years ago, probably around 2010, he started working for Animal in the warehouse. And that was when Animal went through some really rough times, when, after the fallout from the financial crisis, when the company got turned around. So we had the best times, though, because it was such a wild time and stressful time. But the riding sessions we had were probably the best of my life. because we would just go out of the warehouse and ride every which way. We'd ride the industrial all on that end of Jersey City and Bayonne, or we'd ride into Jersey City, or we'd ride into Bayonne, and we just would. And we had ramps there too through the winter. So those years from 2010 till 2015, when we were in that building, was there with Rosie and Carter and Mark, and these guys would come after hours. So we Rosie would work hard all day. He was working in the warehouse, packing orders, packing boxes. And at this time, Rosie was super young too. So
Yeah, he's like 16 years old at that point. 15
yeah,
years ago.
but maybe all right, maybe it was. Let me think.
Because it was 31. I just looked up his obituary. It
Yeah,
was
he was
31.
31 when he passed. So yeah, maybe he started when he was like 18. Maybe it was like
Yeah.
2012. Maybe it was like 2012 when he started. But I did know him even before that, because he was a great rider from when he was like, you
Young
know,
blood. Yeah.
young. Yeah, very young. His parents are the coolest, nicest people. He had a ramp in his backyard that all him and all his friends would session, and the jump box and all this stuff. And his brother is the nicest guy too. Really, really tight. Him and his brother were only a year apart, and they're best of friends. And his younger brother rode with him also. And
Man, it's
he
fucking tragic, dude. It's so sad.
yeah, yeah. So he's remained a good friend since he stopped working at Animal, which was probably around 2016 or so. And he's remained a great friend for all these years. And he had moved out of the area a little bit, and then the last year he's moved back into the area. So the last year I've been with him all the time,
Damn.
and he was really there for me, uh, more than anyone probably. Well, I've had other great people there for me. So, but
Yeah.
he's just been there. He was teaching welding at a school.
Wow.
That so we would meet up after he'd get out of school. We'd get together, and then the last 6 months, especially, he relocated back to Jersey City, and he got back together with his girlfriend, and he's been with me all the time pretty much. He stopped into the shop, almost every day, and he's been riding. And there's a new video project that he's got a full part in that's going to be coming out, a new animal video, which Darian made with Jason, who's this super sick skater they made some of the early videos together that these guys had, like their crew videos.
Yeah.
So it's like a local North Jersey video. So
Yeah.
Rosie has the full part, Lil Jeff, George Duran, uh,
Damn.
Luke Pedals, Darian, Grimaldo, um, and then Harry. Did I say Harry?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
These guys, like it's. I hope I probably left somebody out, but they're
That's
all
stacked. Yeah,
every
that's
part every part
legends.
bangers, and it's all the local guys. They're all riding together. And then Jason's got a skating part in it, which is sick. He always had the sickest skating parts in these guys' videos too. So
Yeah.
they
Dude, so
have.
it doesn't sound like there was any signs or anything, like he didn't show any depression or whatever. Did you like it seems like
No,
this was just out of fucking nowhere, no?
Rosie covered things up a lot. He was such a giving, caring person, and he really covered things up. And even, um, I know he reached out to a mutual friend who had posted something, who he, not like someone who was a mutual friend, but not one of his best friends either way. But he had posted something about being depressed, and Rosie had reached out to this person to try to help them, which he did. And he was just the kind of guy who would reach out and help people. And anytime he would come to the shop, he'd always be like, Ralph, what can I do? And he'd help me with so many things. And he was one of my favorite people to ride with because we just loved being out together. And he would do the biggest rails and the wildest things, that the biggest gaps, and he was so phenomenal to see ride. But he suffered a lot of injuries, and he suffered some major injuries even through filming this video, because he would go so big, and he would just he shattered his ankle, then he shattered his wrist and his hand, and he did have a head injury also. And he's been through a lot. He really has.
Yeah.
But he was just happy Rosie, cracking jokes, most of the time when he was here. But I knew he was struggling with depression. And we would talk about it because I was too. So we would you know uh, share our situations with each other and how we were feeling and what we were dealing with. And but it was a shock. And it's very, very tough situation for everyone, and we
Yeah.
miss him dearly. But another story about him that I thought was so nice, and they I had mentioned it to his family, and they brought it up at his memorial, was that he Harrison had broken down, not broken down. He ran out of gas on the side of the road, and he put out some type of like a BMX chat, said, "Hey, I'm stuck on the side of the highway." Now, this was when Harrison was 18. So Harrison's 23 now. So this is like 5 years ago. So this is just some kid at this point. Not that he wasn't a sick rider either way, but
Yeah.
Rosie didn't even know him. And all of a sudden, he's stuck there on the side of the road. Nobody else is coming. And all of a sudden, Rosie shows up with gas for him,
Nice.
20 minutes later after he
Yeah.
left the message. And that just exemplifies who Rosie was, that he was the guy who would do something for someone he didn't even know to help them. When people who even knew him wouldn't help him, there's someone
Yeah.
who didn't, that, and that's just how special he was, that he was living, he lived for others, and he did all he could to help his friends through
Yeah.
it. So he's dearly missed, so dearly missed, and dearly loved. And we're gonna just all, I talk to these guys, and we're just gonna do what he would want, because he wanted the best for everybody. So we're gonna make him happy, and we're gonna do the best, and we're all gonna be the best we could be for him.
Yeah.
uh, on top of everything else, we're gonna use him for positivity, because he was the most positive person who just wanted the best for others, and that's what he would want. So, because it
It's
is such a tragic thing, and everybody is depressed and sad over what's happened, and we can't let it turn
no, you
things
can't.
worse for everybody either, because that's not what he would want. So
Right. Man, that's the only thing you can do is just, okay, I'm gonna live better now.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know what to say, dude. Such a heavy topic. Like killing yourself is a pretty heavy thing, dude. I don't even. Yeah, it's like I've been around it and I've seen people destroyed from it, from like just knowing somebody that they love do it, and it's just like, ugh, it's a tough one.
Yeah, and the people I've known who've taken their lives have been some of the nicest people I've ever met, and they're all like, I think they experience pain, and dealing with things, and but there was always, there was a lot of things that they were each dealing with, and it's I do want to do that much more with mental health, and trying to help others, and after what I've lived through, and losing such a great friend, and other friends in the past to it, but not in quite some time, and not with someone who I was with every day, the way I was with Rosie.
Yeah, That's extra heavy. Oh, well, it also ties back into, earlier talking about having more empathy and you never know what somebody's going through and all that. Yeah, there's stuff we don't know and we won't know. It's just sad. Rest in peace, Rosie, Fucking A.
Thank, thank you. Yeah, I love you, man, so much. And we're gonna be here doing it, and you're gonna keep out, keep pedaling, and you know, get everybody together and reminisce about him, and always telling stories about him. And he's out there. People. He's not gonna let people forget him, and they're not gonna either because he made a huge impact, and it's going to be felt that much more as time passes. He's going to be he's a legend who's going to be iconic for forever.
That's beautiful. Beautiful thing. What's the video called? What's that? I look forward to that.
Um, I know it's bad, but I'm not sure yet.
No, that's fine.
It's I'm really these guys have been going back and forth with some names, so it is all done though. They're not really filming anymore at this point, so I think it's just getting it together and you know uh,
It's no easy feat getting it together.
releasing it right. Yeah, especially at
Yeah.
this with everything that's happened. So it is
That's
it's
going to be a special premiere.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. We're gonna we got some plans. So we're just it's like the last 3 weeks have been like a really bad, it's just like almost not real. So we're just trying to regroup and keep the communication going, and we're going to post the rest of Rosie's old video parts. We're going to keep posting on the animal Instagram, and just get
Yeah.
his body of work of his writing that he has, which is phenomenal. He was in a lot of videos, and then he was in the animal videos and the scavenger videos, and he's done so many phenomenal things, and so many. He was doing half cab to rails. He did the half cab to kinked rail. Like some serious things that nobody else was even doing.
Yeah.
So it's and he was the most um, humble person. So it wasn't, you would talk to him and you would never know that, hey, this guy is the super killer on a bike. You would think that he was so gentle that he would ride his bike gently too, but he really rode it like a beast, and
Hell yeah.
he was top notch, and he was an adrenaline junkie. He really was.
Yeah.
He really went for it. He didn't half-ass anything. He really went for stuff, and he either got it done or he usually got it done. But if he didn't get it done, he would take it. So
Yeah.
he would take
Wild.
it bad. Super beast, super beast. That's like, he's idol. So I look up to him so much.
I see you're in your shop. I think we last time we did it, you were just in the closet in the shop. Will you give us a tour?
Oh, you want to see the shop?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're on your
Yeah,
phone, right? So you can just walk
yeah.
around. Yeah, let's do it.
This is the this is
Workbench.
the workbench, and here's the back over here, and working on some other bikes over here, some cardboard. This is the other workstation over here. Then this is all in the dark over here, but we wash bikes in the sink, and then we got a whole storage area back here. And then this,
Nice.
this is the front of the shop over here. We got all bikes over here, and
It's cool to see from this perspective because I've seen like you guys on Instagram showing what the shop looks like and shit, but it's cool to see like the size of it. Yeah,
yeah,
dude. Good looking bike shop. What sells the most? What's the bread and butter that keeps the shop
we
alive?
got all BMX bikes in the back. The BMX section's back there. We got some animal stuff going over here.
Nice.
LH's over here, and a bunch of locks and all that kind of stuff. But mainly we do like hybrid bikes, just commuter style bikes
Yeah.
for over here because we're in the downtown area. So we don't do a lot of mountain bikes. We do some road bikes. We've been doing more and more electric bikes.
Yeah, those are blowing up, electric bikes.
Yeah,
Everybody's got to have an electric bike.
yeah. There's a lot of it's very populated with bicycles here, and electric bikes are flying all over the place for sure.
Um, like percentage of business for you, service or sales?
Yeah, it was traditionally about half and half, but it has gone more towards service. New bike sales aren't what they used to be. I feel like, especially with a lot of people, so many bought bikes through 2020, 2021, through the
Yeah.
pandemic. They bought whatever they could. So a lot of people aren't getting new bikes as much. They're getting the bikes fixed though. So we do a lot of service, and we have top mechanics with 30 plus years experience that
Yeah.
they turn these bikes into new bikes. They
Yeah,
people.
it's so badass when you meet a good bike mechanic. Like I always used to be like, yeah, whatever, just work on the bike. But then I worked at a bike shop, and the fucking bike nerd mechanics are next level. Like they can, whip something up, and they automatically know just by hearing, like, oh yeah, you just need to do this, and I'm like, all right, cool, dude, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, these guys are technicians, and you could really tell. Uh, the two main guys, they do the big tune-ups especially, and some people don't even recognize their bikes when they come in because it looks like a brand new bike and
That's
riding
sick.
a brand new bike. And we do a lot of custom bills and a lot of things that they have to modify, and they figure everything out, and they've experienced so many things, and now we are dealing with some, with a lot of the delivery bikes, even with doing, different brakes and flats and things with those. So that is
Interesting. Yeah.
a lot more, a little more intensive with dealing that stuff too. But
So what's my turnaround time? I'm bringing my hybrid bike in because I'm commuting to work, but shit, my derailleur is busted. How long do I have to drop it off with you guys for?
yeah, if it's a one something like that, they're usually done on the spot. You might have to leave it for a half hour, an hour. If you're bringing it in for a tune-up package or for a more extensive service, within usually like a day or two.
Nice. That's the way to
Yeah,
go. Yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah, it gets a little longer during the peak season, but at this point, it has slowed down a bit with the weather turning a bit going into
Yeah.
October. So we got a day or two for most bigger repairs either
What's the
way.
weather like right now? Because right now I'm telling you, it's been 100 degrees for like 100 days straight here, and it's about to break to be under 100 degrees, which I'm like, yes. But when I think about it, I'm like, you're in fall already. The leaves have changed colors and shit, right?
Yeah, I mean this is my favorite time of year here,
Yeah.
because you can go out riding at night. You need a sweatshirt,
Yep.
but like I need some padding, so that's my padding is having a
Yeah.
sweatshirt.
Hell
So
yeah.
I like this time of year. This is probably my favorite time of year before, and you want to get it in as much as you can before it gets so cold because
Yep.
we ride through every winter. We ride through the whole winter, but it is tough moving when you go out there and it's like
Yeah.
20 degrees and you got on multiple layers and a heavy winter jacket, and
Yep.
it is tougher to get moving. It is a lot. So this
That's like that makes me really think of animal shit. Just the wearing winter clothing, fucking riding.
yeah,
Speaking
I
of
do love
animal,
I
I
love
do.
the winter, but I love this time the best.
Yeah. And I would say I love the summer, but I don't. I hate the summer here, and that's just the most miserable time. And I used to
You're
beat myself. I used to be like so about BMX that it didn't matter. I would go ride in the middle of the day in 120 degrees. But I'm older now, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay to not want to ride and not be outside right now. It's so
no,
fucked.
take the cold over the extreme heat. I'll tell you that I couldn't. I mean, I love where you are, and I'd like to be chilling over there, but not riding at this
Yeah.
point.
I think
That
I'm gonna eventually be a snowbird. I want to figure something out to where I can live here for the good months and then get the hell out for the summer because it's miserable, man. But
Yeah, you should get a jersey spot
yeah, I'll
there.
get a Jersey spot.
I
That's
think
the
that would be
most.
the. I think that's
I'll come
that's
kick it
the
at
best.
the animal warehouse.
Yeah, and I'll come back over there and visit when the snow's on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Start a animal warehouse out here. So speaking of animal, how is animal going? How's business and what's coming up down the pipeline for you? How much time are you spending on it? I just asked 4 questions. Try and pick one.
Um, so yeah, we got some stuff on the way. We got some stuff shipping out. It's been the whole flow of everything has been pretty slow overall, just with the overall situation. But we got, you know, the demand is big. It's just us replenishing the supply to meet the demand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where we're at. And we do have these other new products. We have some USA top loads too that we're going to get in this week. So that's cool. Those are awesome. We have some new hats. We did another run of jeans with Heavies. And then we are moving forward on this hybrid hub. That's going to be going pretty soon.
Sick.
And then we just got to keep it moving. Really, just really one thing at a time. I want to do more things at a time. I mean, there's still a lot of things going, but I'm the plan is once things are they did move backwards for a long time with the way everything went. So, but once they're moving forward again, that's the way to take it and do what you want with it once it's moving and grooving
Yeah.
and growing. So once it's
Momentum.
growing, the momentum you could move forward and then take it to the level because it really did. It's been through so many things and it always has had such a huge potential and it really never reached the full potential because something would happen either way. So I'm still,
It's not too
you
late. Yeah.
exactly
Still going. Yeah.
overall, it never sold out. It never did bullshit, and it always had super high quality products and the best riders and
Yeah.
the best branding and name and logo and it's
Facts. It's crazy. Like it is so synonymous with street riding. I was just thinking while you were saying that, I was like, what other brand is so associated with street riding? It's just Animal, like worldwide. Are you doing a bunch of like jam sponsorship? And like, are you the one that deals with all the riders around the world that are throwing jams and you're tossing them product or anything? Like, what's been going on with the community for
Yeah,
Animal?
we always have supported the riders more than anything. We always put the riders first over anything. And any jams, we literally have supported probably every single thing that almost anybody's. I mean, we probably supported every single thing that anybody's ever asked for,
Hell yeah,
for the
that's
last
what's
20
up.
years.
Yeah.
That's anything to do with BMX. So we
Yep.
we pretty much support everything, and we do have the best riders all around the world. Um, we just put out this edit with Mako, who's one of our new Japan riders. He came to visit, so he was over here visiting, riding with me and Harry and Eric Perez and Tall Mark and all these guys. So we just put out a little edit that he did. So he's joining for Peggy and Daisuke as one of our Japan riders.
Sick, dude. I love the Japanese riders, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, no, and he's like continuing, in with a similar style of these guys, and and they're very humble and so appreciative that they say that they learned from the style of all the animal riders from
Yep.
from from the beginning.
2008, 2005. When did it
They,
start again? 2004? Sorry.
oh, 2000. Well,
Damn,
19,
2000.
1999 is
Damn.
actually, but
Oops,
it was
my bad.
it was incorporated on January 1st of 2000. But I
Oh
initially
shit, it's a new animal
started
century.
in '99. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what's 1,000 years? If a century is 100 years, what's 1,000 years? Because that's not a new century. That's a new. Uh, somebody knows it, and they're listening to this right now. Like, what fucking idiots?
Century. No, century. You just said
Millennium.
millennium, man. Yeah.
Yeah, boom, there it is. Cool, we're not dumb. We got this. So I'm looking for this Mako edit that you're talking about. I don't see it. Is it on your YouTube?
Yeah.
when did it come out? 2 months ago? 3 months
Like
ago?
2 days ago.
2 days ago? Where
Or
is it? On Animal Bikes, or is it on Dig or something?
check. It should be on a link or something. Check the.
I'm looking at the website, but there's no riding videos on there except for Ez on
Can you
there.
can you check the animal Instagram and just see what we
Instagram might
post?
be it. Yeah.
We posted it within the last couple days, few days, maybe like.
Yeah, because I must be sleeping on it. The Shift Life is the latest post. Ryan Howard, Pato. Is it Pato? No.
No, that's one of our riders
Yeah.
from who rides for the cut.
Okay, there it is. There's the YouTube link. Yeah. Oh, video unavailable. This video is private.
No,
Yeah, what the fuck?
no. Damn it, Howard. Video's private.
God damn it, Ryan.
Uh, all right. Well, thanks for catching that.
Yeah, dude, Ryan Howard. Ooh, you're in trouble, dude.
Yeah, don't so
Shit.
it's a sick edit though. It's a really
Yeah,
sick edit.
I'm
And
looking
I'm
forward to.
sorry that I can't watch it right now. I feel bad. So
I
I'm gonna
think it'll
check
be
out. I'm gonna
fixed. It'll be fixed by Monday or something when this
No,
comes
it's gonna be fixed immediately when we get off this call. Don't worry.
out. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what happened. Something must have happened. But
All
it
good.
is sick and he's really awesome. And I had a good time with him over here visiting last week. And
Yeah.
you know, it was just just when I told him that I'm down to have him representing for us in Japan too, he just really uh his
We lit up.
his pride and happiness and it was just such a
So
it's just
cool.
awesome that
Yeah.
the passion and the love that people have for the brand and the riders that we have that ride hardcore and they there's nobody else
Doing it.
that these guys want to be riding for except Animal. It's
It is.
that's what they grew up on and what they love.
It's the shit. And like through, I don't know, through, what am I trying to say? I think that Animal has just had held itself on a different level. I feel like the way that you've navigated sponsoring people and having people represent and not be too fucking corporate or like expectations, but just very supportive. And I think that vibe has spread and it's a beautiful thing. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm going to show you because Nick Bonnell, his part in Mediocre is pretty close to done, and I have an edited version. I'll text it to you after this, and it's
Nice.
so fucking good. It's the best video. It's the best in the whole video for
Oh,
sure.
I can't wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
And then
He's a crusher.
Clay and Robbie both fucking killers. I was just thinking in my head like you gotta get some
You
more
got a great
more
crew. You got
Arizona
a
heads,
great
but
crew. Yeah.
I think you do. Clay, Robbie, and Nick. Is
Yeah. Look at
anybody else?
super bangers we got over there.
The heads, you know?
Yeah, no, these guys been repping for a long time, and they're phenomenal. And we always had such sick riders, starting with Smoker from back in the day.
Yeah.
Uh,
R.I.P.
you
Smoke.
know, we always had great repping with great heads in Arizona, and
Yeah.
I'm so proud of that, and
So
it's
what I was
awesome.
curious about earlier is like, so if I'm asking selfishly, because I'm gonna have Mediocre at Best 2 premiere and Clay's gonna have Street Fighter Jam coincide with that day. So is it you that handles all that stuff? Do I hit up you and say, hey, sponsor this event or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
And
I mean, Ryan is gonna ship it out and get
yeah,
whatever, but you could let me know. I mean,
sick.
I'm communicating with him all the time, and going back and forth about all anything writing related.
Yeah,
There's just so many things. So, yeah, of course, we're gonna sponsor it, and
let's go.
let's go, let's do it. That's awesome. You're doing it that the jam's gonna happen on the day of the premiere. That's
Yeah, it's
sick.
like a cheat code to get more people to come to the premiere, you know? The people ideally will come from all around Arizona and then I'll be like, "Well, sucks you guys got to come to this video premiere tonight," you know? It'll be
Yeah,
fun.
but what do you want to do? You want to you want to watch video. You get hyped. You want to ride. You want to do it all.
Yep, exactly. So that's very exciting. Something I'm doing with episodes lately that hasn't it's funny, I'm asking the guest who should be my next guest, and then I try and set that up. The last one that I did, I recorded with Pat Frayne. He said that I should talk to Cooper Brownlee, but he's not available for a couple of weeks, so he's in queue.
Yeah.
But who's your suggestion? I think Ryan Howard is a perfect next one after you.
Oh, Ryan is encyclopedia of BMX knowledge
He's a
and
BMX nerd, dude.
an
He's a BMX nerd.
encyclopedia of spots. He's a spot
Yeah.
encyclopedia. He is
He's got a
he
touch of the tism.
yeah. Yeah, he is on a mission, constant mission to hit all the
All the
spots
spots.
that
Yeah.
he's on a mission and he is taking care of it. He's taking care of all these spots with the sickest things. So
Yep.
he would be phenomenal. That's a great idea.
Hell yeah. That's what we'll do. I'll have to hit you up for some secret questions to ask him.
Yeah, yeah. He's he's a good one because there's not many people that have that he has such a knowledge. And I ask him because everything with animal, because I don't remember so much of the stuff. I'm like, hey, what was this? What did we do with this? And he's like, he just remembers everything.
Yeah.
He's a historian and he collects everything too. So he's got all, every single thing that animals ever made in every single color. Probably he's got a little museum of everything.
Hot diggity damn. That's wild. I wish
Yeah.
I had that. Like I see people who are like super passionate about something like animal bikes or BMX in general, and they collect stuff. And I've never been a collector of anything, and I can't remember shit. I've lived a great life, but I'm like, I did that. That's cool. I can't remember it. You know?
Yeah, I used to hold on to everything and collect everything, and then I got rid of everything when I got rid of the building and everything. And I mean, I didn't plan it like that, but it is easier to not deal with things,
Yes. Yeah. It's
either way.
liberating.
It is tough if you are a collector, it's tough to not continue to collect.
Yeah.
So it's tough, to grow. So collections will just grow and grow. And,
Yeah. Me,
there's
every
one,
time I've moved, I take the opportunity if I'm moving an apartment to a different place or whatever, I like throw away as much as I possibly can and just get down to the bare minimum. I like that route. But like I said,
yeah,
I wish I had the attention to detail and that type of personality, but I
yeah.
don't.
No, I think it's super cool and I'm
Yeah.
into all this cool stuff, but it is like a whole nother thing to do. And I do, uh, I there's a lot worse things to be into or
Oh
addicted to
yeah, for
than
sure.
collecting BMX stuff either way. But
Yeah.
uh, it is I like the older stuff though. I would collect, the BMX stuff from the early 80s, like the weird kind of BMX stuff. That was
Yeah.
stuff that I liked more than anything when they were making like, it was all so each thing was so different. Every frame looked so different with all
Yep.
kinds of forms all over the place and here and there. So I like that kind of weird stuff. And
Yeah, the
even
vintage bikes are sick.
yeah, even the old racing stuff, but more like the early freestyle stuff.
Exactly. When like
Like
when the freestyle aspect was just being born. That's super interesting stuff to think about. Like the
yeah,
handlebars, the fucking because it's wild to think about people doing BMX tricks wearing a full on get up, like a uniform that all matched and like the racer number plate and all that shit. It seems like a different, it was a different millennia back then,
yeah. It was a lot of cool stuff, a lot of corny stuff too, but that's almost what I mean that's still how it is a little bit on a lot of things, but
Yeah,
it's almost like it makes the more hardcore stuff that much better, and that was like
exactly.
I really did like that period too though. Even though I like that early stuff, like towards the 89, 88, 88, 89, 90, where it started to become like a more of like a lifestyle, street style, type of thing. That was probably my favorite period when the street riding started standing out a little bit from
Yeah,
from dirt jumping or freestyle. So
the birth of it. I mean, speaking
yeah,
like we're talking about the good old days. You got your Greystoke shirt on. I like that shirt a lot. I want that shirt. That's fire.
yeah,
We
it's
gotta
very cool. So this is the freestyling logo from Freestyling magazine, which was
nice.
which was a magazine that was around probably like 88 to 91 or something, only for I don't know, I'm just saying that, but around that time period. So they just took a play on that logo and it
It's
was
only
cool.
$25 on GreystokebMX.com. You can get yourself your own. Yeah,
Yeah, go get that.
that's awesome.
But that magazine had skating and BMX too, so it was cool because it was, it had like lifestyle kind of stuff more than you know, it was different than the other BMX magazines at the time because it didn't have BMX racing too the way the other ones were geared to racing at the time more. This had more freestyling and street riding too and stuff. So
Man, so I can't remember if we were recording when you told me what you know about, Greystoke and the like what for were we recording when you told me that it's, Scott Town? Will you give me your understanding of what Greystoke is and give them a shout out?
yeah. Shout out to Scott Town. He is one of the he's probably the most knowledgeable person that I know from who's seen everything pretty much from the beginning. He was involved with all these magazines from the early '80s, and he rides every day still, and I believe and he's into his mid 50s at least, uh, and he is just a super big fan of BMX. He's just like a big kid still, and
Yeah.
he's just really awesome. And his son skate and BMX too, and so he does. Greystoke is his the media that he does. It's like a dig is like the back end of it. But then Scott runs the Instagram, and then they do magazines, also print magazines, which are great, which have a lot of historic stuff. So it's a lot of history.
So sick. Yeah, it's like it's really important that shit like this is done because it makes everybody who's coming in be like, "Oh, okay, what was it like back then?" And then you can look at Greystoke and get an understanding of it. It's important to document different eras of the thing that you love. Like this is obviously way before my time, but it's one of the most interesting things. I'm looking at these like old school magazines. If you go to Greystoke, there's a Greystoke's Instagram. There's a post where it's just like a dude upside down on the handlebars looking down at a camera, and it's the cover of a magazine, and it's just like fucking awesome, dude. It reminds me of being younger and like the first time you get into BMX and you're like, whoa, you could do that, and then do it for 20 years, you get a little jaded and weird, but then you come back around to appreciate it. At least that's me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That is, and to see these things, like I'm showing these guys all the time. Like I'll see some kind of pic or something, like I just saw he posted Eddie Roman doing a wall ride, and I'm like, I got to share this with the young guys. I share it with Harrison and Martin and Eric and these
Hell
guys
yeah.
because I'm like, hey, look, this is like one of the guys who I looked up to who was doing sick street riding stuff at the time, and they're like, oh, that's cool, oh, look at that, they're still, you're still checking out the spot, you're
Yeah.
checking out what a rider was riding who was street riding at the time. Their bikes were set up a little different than a freestyle bike or
Yep.
race
Fashion comes
bike.
back around too. This you like I think it's important to keep showing what's been done to people who are doing the new shit today, like Harry, where he can take influence from the older shit and add it, mix it in with it. Cause he's so fucking capable that it's like he could look at something that an old school rider was doing and then somehow implement that and make it cool. I'm trying to think of an example to give you like I don't know. There's some dudes doing tricks out of up rails that are just straight up like old school. Devin Smiley in X Games did pegs up to hard 180 back peg grab or like back seat grab or something. Just freestyle as fuck, and it's just like that's cool, dude. I love it.
Yeah,
That's the way the sport evolves. And then yeah, the fashion. Like we're talking, heavies are coming back, and it's like that shit was 2000. That was 2001 that you wore big ass baggy jeans, and then here we are, 23 years later. Everybody's all about the big baggy jeans again.
Yeah, no, everybody loved the jeans, and I was like, hey, are they too baggy? And I think like because they're Heavies is from England, so I thought, hey, maybe the style might be a little different, but they everybody loved them here, and they
Yeah.
are great jeans, so it was definitely cool to do a collab with them with these jeans.
What is, I mean, I got two questions now. What is Heavies? I don't know anything about it. And then what kind of jeans are you wearing in your life, Ralph? Are you wearing these big ass baggy Heavies? Or are you just wearing some traditionals?
No, yeah, I am. I wear like definitely not tight jeans, but definitely not big ones like I used to wear.
Yeah, these big ones are
Uh,
crazy. I'm trying to picture myself wearing them and I just can't, dude.
yeah, more like just more comfort. But I'll tell you, even like jeans that are like you know a little like a little tighter, they're more comfortable now. The way they make jeans, but I do think it's worth getting better jeans because I spent so many years just wearing Levi's over and over, and they're right, but there are jeans that last longer and don't rip as easy, and
Yeah,
Levi's aren't really what they used to be, when I was a kid. So um and so
Heavies.
yeah, so Heavies is Paul, who is the team manager for We the People, and
Cool.
he does that as a side project, and he does a few other really cool things, and he's just really a perfectionist who does things right, and he's really really good to deal with, and he's been in BMX for a long time too, so they do have a cool brand, and they've done some collabs with some other companies and Cult and Motobunka and
Yeah, they're
other
out there
people
making
too.
shit happen.
Yeah.
So, what's Paul's last name?
Uh, oh, geez. Paul's last name is, um, oh, geez,
What?
I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Sorry, Paul.
I feel like I know it, but I don't know. Paul Vile? No.
No,
Dude, why don't I know Paul's? It's not Paul Tolan. That's Felix's friend, but the like a owner of the shit. Yeah. What the fuck? Oh well. Sorry, Paul. Paul Robinson.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There it is. Sheesh. I knew that, and I just
Sorry,
didn't
Paul.
couldn't
Sorry,
remember.
man.
See, we just said we don't remember shit. There it is, right there. Dude, this was fun. I don't know what else to talk about. I think we can call it. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And it was great talking with you. And, thanks for hearing me out on all this stuff. And thanks for, getting this information out there. And, thanks for being, a big part of BMX who's really pushing to get this stuff out to the riders and to the people, and and just we're gonna just keep your eye out, and you know we're gonna keep doing it for Rosie. So
Fuck yeah. And you're more than welcome, dude. Like I appreciate having a relationship with you. It's crazy. It's you tell my 16-year-old self I'm talking with the owner of Animal Bikes, Ralph Sinisi. No way. It's crazy. So you're more than welcome. You're invited. Always welcome to pop in whenever you want. And
no, that's the thing. We got you're on the we're on the same level with the type of riding and everything, so it's like we could keep talking forever, really. There's so many things to talk about with
yeah,
riding, spots and tricks and all that stuff, so
love it, man.
I appreciate you.
All right, boys. That's that. Alrighty, that's that. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe that helped pass some time in your life. And I think that you are cool, and thank you for listening. I will see you next week with a very exciting episode. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably can figure out who it is, but a serious day one hero. All right, that's that. Have a good day.